Welcome everyone to this new special edition of ESSR Central. I am the first time host for this show for myself, the big dog, Allan McLucas, and this week we're going to talk about all things that have been happening across the world in the world of wrestling. So first up, when this man marries his fiancée, he's going to be a beautiful bride. It's the future Mr. Daniel Brogan.
Well, shame I didn't get time to update the graphic on this to reflect that lovely introduction, Alan. But yes, I soon will be Mr. or Mrs. Daniel Brogan, rather. That's going to be confused with me to say. It's a tongue twister. Dude, we're meant to do the show easy, okay?
Well, I try. Okay. Next up, my next panellist. Well, how did I put this politely? She's absolutely shite at Fortnite. It's Pamela Brogan.
It's actually Mr. Pamela Campbell to you, and at least I can turn the game on.
The game's shite. I'm sorry. Who cares? How you doing, pal? You alright?
People that can't play it.
Yeah, I'm a COD player. How you doing anyway? You alright?
Yeah, not bad. Excited to come on. First one, isn't it?
Well, thank you very much for coming on.
We finally have our reigning and defending 365 champion on the show.
Yes, but yet I don't see the title. She hiding it.
Auntie Nick has taken it away for safekeeping.
Fair enough.
It feels like there's so many people that might egg their own computers that seen me on this show, so I didn't want to rub anything else in and salt in the wind.
Fair enough. And my last panellist. You think being called 44 was a cool thing? Like Agent 44 from Hitman. Not with this guy. All he'll hit you with is his shite patter. It's Scott McLeod.
I'm going to shite patter. If you're going to insult me, get it right. It's Agent 47. Thank you very much. From Hitman.
I know that. I just wanted to see you pick it up.
Of course,
how you doing anyway?
I'm a massive nerd.
I know, so man. Look at me. So, moving swiftly on, there's a reason I went to Scotland last, because Scotland is the start of my favourite country in the world, Scotland, and this has been a phenomenal week for Scotland.
Scotland, you bastard! Scotland! Scotland! Scotland!
Perfectly said by the boys from Burniston. And just to explain why, I am a member of the Tartan Army. My Tartan Army's foot soldier. There you go, that's my Tartan Army travelling group, Wester. And basically, we're going to the Euros. Get in there! First time we're qualified since 1998 for a tournament. Cannot wait. Already booked for Wembley. The most important reason why I'm bringing up Scotland and bringing it back to the wrestling is because Scotland has a two-time WWE champion.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Like, I wasn't expecting it to happen, even though, like, the talk since matching was like, I'd done more to build a match between bloody Drew and Roman rather than Randy and Roman, which was accurate. And I don't know why. I actually didn't watch the match. I knew he'd won it. I know just before we recorded this, seen the clip of him coming out with the sword, and that, which according to Gary Cassidy belongs to Vince McMahon. So it's Vince McMahon's sword that apparently Stephanie and Triple H bought him on a trip to Scotland, and so he let Drew use it for his entrance. So the more you know. I'm trying to.
It's a very cool entrance, though.
It is. I'm happy to see him win the belt back. Obviously, like for ages we didn't know if we were going to get a Scottish world champion. Now we've got a two-time world champion, and it just seems weird. It just seems like an excuse to stay give Orton another title win, because we know he said he wants to also tie Flair's record and potentially break the record. So it kind of feels that's the whole reason he won the belt in the first place. Kind of like when Cena got his 16th win only to lose it 2 weeks later. But I actually think a Drew Roman match is actually the best possibility.
I was the same as Scott. I was quite shocked to see so soon that Drew won back the title. I thought it was going to be quite a long process of a down phase, and how he'd lost it after such a build up, and obviously with WrestleMania not being the same this year because of COVID, it was you still felt the atmosphere even watching at home, even though it was an empty audience, but you know how big it would have been if it had been in front of an arena full of people. And when he lost the title, it was just that kind of come down of, oh my god, it's like, it feels like we've just watched them win it and now it's been ripped away and now it's been given back. So it feels like there's something more to it going on storyline wise, but with him and Roman going against each other, I think it'll make for an interesting head to head, because obviously both of them are big guys, kind of, you know, the same look, they're approaching their WWE careers and what their goals are and things, and the people that they've faced. So it's a lot to gain and a lot to lose, I would say, in the match for both of them, however it decides to swing. But it'll be interesting to see who walks out victorious, I think.
We're going to move on, keeping it with WWE, and other than that, there's been a fair amount of negativity around WWE this week. Zelina Vega has been fired, partly because of breach of contract due to her OnlyFans account and her Twitch account. Dan, you're the person I know that knows the most about these sort of things. Not OnlyFans, but like Twitch and third party.
Right, go, Alan. Do you know something I don't?
For $9.99 a month.
You can get the best feet pics from me.
He knows how we're going to fund the wedding.
You used to damn Russia. No, but go on.
So, in terms of what's happened, so as many will be aware now, obviously WWE released an edict to any talent who had Twitch, Mixer, any kind of streaming accounts to say shut them down. Now, this of course affects a number of people: AJ Styles, Cesaro, Adam Cole. I'm not going to do Hot and Sing. It affects a large number of people. And there's been two that have been very vocal in opposing it, and that has been Zelina Vega and Paige. Now, Paige is as of the time of recording, still continuing to stream while under her contract. She's just doing everything under her real name, Saraya. Zelina, on the other hand, obviously had to shut down the stream, but was still looking for a way to be able to connect with her community. So she decided to open up an OnlyFans account to release cosplay photo shoots, I believe, and still find some way of being able to get in touch with everyone. But WWE deemed this as breach of contract and decided to sack her for this, which it's causing uproar, particularly with a tweet that Zelina had put out around the same time saying, "I support unionization." And it's a growing sentiment. Apparently now also the Screen Actors Guild has chimed in as saying that they're backing her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Scott, what's your thought on that then? I mean, she's not... I know WWE's always had this zero tolerance policy towards nudity, but she's not doing anything nude. There's nothing pornographic about it. But how do you feel that she's been treated as a result of this?
Yeah, I mean, she specified like how the boundaries of what she was going to be doing this, and like it's all about using like their WWE names as many of the people using Twitch were. She even says like she's like done cosplay and that for years, and she has like a name that she goes by, like Megan Minx, I think was the name, use it, and that's what she was using as her name on OnlyFans. So it's not as if she was using her WWE name to profit off of this. But again, like we discussed this I think a few weeks ago on Central, like how this will affect the deal, because like that's not a outlet that was discussed originally. It was mainly Cameo and Twitch, and just it's kind of weird. Like I think she apparently got wind that she was going to get fired. So before our meeting with WWE, she tweeted at the unionization thing, and I think a lot of people misconstrued that as she tweeted that out and then was instantly fired, which, you know, a lot of people probably went past WWE, but it's not really how it happened. It's a shame she left. I thought she was going to be, she seems to be a main feature on WWE TV. I thought she was still going to be part of like the women's team at Survivor Series for SmackDown, and also like if it leads to like a step in helping like the unionization talk that a lot of people had recently, then it's probably a good thing, and she can have a part in that. And I think whether she chooses to stay in OnlyFans and Twitch and not wrestle, she'll be fine. If she chooses to go back to wrestling, which she'll probably have the usual 90-day no compete thing.
There's one part of WWE that I feel that this week especially we have to discuss, and it has been sadly 15 years since the great Eddie Guerrero passed. This might come as a shock. Growing up at the time, I didn't see the whole Eddie being a star thing. It just was like, I couldn't see him as a world champion sort of thing. Until a few nights ago, I couldn't sleep up through the middle of the night, and I sat and I watched the WWE Network's programme they've got on them, so it's 3.5 hours of all his greatest matches, and I was blown away and like, why did I not see this growing up? I mean, Dan, I'll come to you. I know you're a big fan of Eddie. What do you think was probably with winning the WWE title was his defining moment in his career?
Like, winning that title was the defining moment. Particularly, the main thing I remember was the SmackDown after, where he walked in as champion, pyro going off, balloons everywhere. That's where you get that shot in the tribute packages they always play of Eddie set, like stands in there holding the title, like you can see him welling up, just enjoying the emotion of it. And you look at everything that he did in his career, like going from like starting out, like learning to wrestle with the family, the wrestling ring in the backyard, which is just one of the best stories I love to hear. There's a story, I can't remember if it's Hector or another one of the brothers, who says like they would just feel a drop kick and just go, who's that? And it's little like young Eddie, and they're just like, oh, Eddie, usual. There was, I do remember as well, it was one of the greatest promos he ever did, because I got shared about on Twitter the other week. It was his addiction promo before No Way Out, where Lesnar had used Eddie's past as an addict, and Eddie just went, you're right, I am an addict. I'm addicted to this. I am addicted to coming out here, hearing those people cheer my name. I am addicted to being able to inflict pain on my opponents. You know what? I am addicted to the delight I'm going to get when I kick your ass. Like, it was promos like that. Eddie had you in the palm of his hands. There was no other way of putting it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Pat, is there a moment that stands out for yourself with Eddie?
I mean, I'll be honest, I was like you, so I've always watched WWE from very young. It was my dad and my brother that were proper into it, and I always grew up as a, oh my god, but we're really hurting each other, until I obviously grew up and understood. But I think the standout moment for me, because I didn't grow up watching him, so I've really watched the highlights of his career, is that when you're talking about that title winning, him coming out on SmackDown, and that whole little, would you call it a speech?
Yeah, his promo.
Yeah, his promo. Yeah. For me, kinda just, you could feel it. You could feel the passion in him, and you could feel that it was his complete utter life, was his career, and how dedicated he was to it. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so tragic when you think about obviously what happened to him and how long it's been, because you just know he'd have been one of the greats that would have still been kicking about and coming back for his odd turn up and things like that. So I would say that stand out to me personally, because I wasn't a massive watcher of Eddie, but I've watched the highlights of his career, and that's the one that always sticks in my mind.
And Mr. Encyclopedia Scott, I'll come to yourself. I mean, there's so much in wrestling you don't know. I mean, what's your favourite moment?
I think for me, as someone who, especially growing up, I remember mid-2000s SmackDown Sky on a Saturday, with Eddie being part of the famous SmackDown 6. You know, I think for me, like mid-2003 to mid-2004 is, for me, one of the peak times in Eddie's career. Like, he's first ever US champion. You know, weird thing with Big Show and the spiked burrito aside, like, he somehow made that work. He and Chavo had a rivalry, which I mentioned on the Family Feud episode. One of Michael Cole's best, like, most underrated calls is when Chavo has a chance to help Eddie Guerrero from a beatdown, and he just stands there and just watches it, and Michael Cole's just yelling, Chavo, for God's sake, he's your uncle, help him. Like, he's just yelling. And